We've got sort of 15, 20 minutes, and it's a huge topic, and I didn't really quite know where to pitch this, so hopefully we've pitched it about right, and if it's boring, just say, I'll see you guys falling asleep. We can go deeper or shallower. This is the hairless wonder that is James Routley. I work at Rocketmakers. We are a 40-strong bespoke software developer based in Bath. So we specialise in projects that take different data sources, different systems, and integrate them to create great, well-designed experiences for our customers. That's it in a nutshell. We do about 40 projects a year, all different sizes, up from a few tens of thousands to several million quid. So yeah, that's us. Us and AI. We've been working with AI sporadically for probably 10 years, a few projects, but obviously in the last, it's almost exactly 12 months, I think, since ChatGPT was released. And obviously we've seen a huge amount of interest. We're getting a lot more inquiries about AI, and slowly, more and more of our projects are including an AI element. So we've spent some time sharpening our AI tools as well in between projects, and you can see the output of some of the work that we've done down here, which we're in a basement with the Wi-Fi's okay, but GPT's having a bad day, and it might work later, we might see. What I'm going to try and cover today quickly in maybe 15 more minutes is I'm going to try and demystify AI for those that haven't come across it much before, give you some ideas about how you might use it in your business. We'll try and answer a couple of the big questions. I've already been asked a couple of those questions today. Is that going on the podcast or? Yeah, okay. Maybe point out some of the pitfalls of using AI and give you some pointers to get you started. So I hope that's okay. Hope that's pitched about right. Let's go. First question, just so I can gauge, how many of you have used AI before? Okay, excluding ChatGPT, how many of you have used AI before? So it's about half, okay. You've all used AI, probably for about 10 years. If you watch a streaming platform, if you buy anything from an online store, if you play a computer game, if you've ever taken a computer on chess or anything like that, you've used AI. And you've probably used AI in even more services that you weren't aware of. If you've ever been sick, hopefully you haven't, but the NHS have an AI lab founded in 2009 that uses AI to interpret diagnostic tests. West Midlands Police have been using AI for several years to identify crime hotspots in and around the West Midlands. So they're spotting patterns in data and trying to work out where the crime's going to happen next. And then the Department of Work and Pensions have an AI job centre advisor to help you access the services and benefits. So it's all around us. What is AI though? Could anybody offer a definition of AI? Anybody want to have a go before I pick somebody?
Don't look at me.
Go on. I heard something from up there.
Automated intelligence, basically a replacement for any tool you want to do day to day.
A replacement for any... I am deaf, really. I'm going to turn up. Go on.
Basically, anything that involves thinking day to day, you could replace it with AI.
Anything that involves thinking day to day, you could replace with AI technology. Anything else? Anybody else want to offer anything?
The end of humanity.
The end of humanity. It's an interesting definition. Oh, yeah.
Is it like a self-learning intelligence system?
Self-learning, yeah, okay. Cool. So you're all right, except for end of humanity guy. Maybe. Maybe you're right. AI is just an umbrella term for a whole bunch of different technologies, right? Any computer code that's making autonomous decisions is a kind of it's kind of artificial intelligence. where people these days are talking more about AI is this machine learning thing, where machines are learning from data that's happened in the past, and particularly connecting data sources together to find patterns that humans can't see and it's not obvious in the data. There's also generative AI. So generative AI is learning what's happened in the past to predict a good outcome from the future in terms of creativity. So we've got things like large language models like ChatGPT and image and video production tools like I can't remember the name of it, Leonardo. Leonardo, by the way, was used to produce all of the images in this deck with the help of a graphic designer. But every image you've seen here is a custom drawn image. It's an original artwork. So generative AI is basically looking at all of the other artworks in the past, all the other creativity that's happened, and predicting what's the next most probable good likely outcome. So, you know, if you ask it to draw a bird, it's going to go, well, it's probably going to have a beak. What's the next most likely brush stroke? And it's just predicting that. Computer senses is another type of AI. So you might have heard of computer vision. So the self-drive cars will be using computer vision to see what's in the road around them and interpreting that using AI. Again, it's looking at data, looking at images of roads and you know, tagged roads, so it knows that, oh, that must be a lamppost because I've seen that before. That's all AI. And then predictive analysis, that's the type of AI that is looking at, again, data from the past and predicting what's going to happen in the future. So that West Midlands police force finding the crime hotspots, that's a good example of predictive analysis. So there's tons of different types of AI. There's more than this. This is just some of the more common ones. But it's a very broad topic. One of the key things, though, is it needs a lot of data to work. So all of these examples are you know, have a huge amount of data that sits behind them. How is AI different from traditional software? Well, traditional software, computer code, can only really ever do what you say. It has to do what you say. It's all it can do. It can never go outside of the boundaries that you set it. You tell it what domain it's working in, you give it some instructions, and it follows them to the letter, rightly or wrongly. AI makes its own rules. You don't really give it rules. You give it a direction. You give it a desired outcome. And AI learns how to get to that outcome. So it adapts to what it knows. And it does that relatively unsupervised. So you can still make it operate within constraints. You can still say, never do this, never cross the road, never say, oh, I was going to say some words that you shouldn't say if you're AI. You can tell AI not to say certain words, and it won't. But within those constraints, it will work its own way around. And it requires a bit of experimentation, and it sounds quite scary. But if you think about when you hire a person, maybe you give them a few rules, but typically you give them an outcome. You say, I'd like you to do this. I'd like you to deliver me that. Then they go away and do it. They work out how to do it. They follow their own process. Two different people will come up with slightly different results. Maybe they'll follow a slightly different process. And AI is a bit like that. So it's a bit like having free-thinking people. And as a result of that, the key difference between traditional software and AI is that the outputs are what's called non-deterministic. If you give a piece of software some inputs, it will give you an output. If you give that software the same inputs again, it will do exactly the same, and the same, and the same, and the same. And it's repeatable. You give a piece of software the same input 100 times, you should get the same output 100 times, unless you've told it to be random or something. But with AI, you should potentially never get exactly the same result, because it's working out how to do its process itself. And that has some positives and some negatives. If you're expecting a perfect answer, the right answer, the calculated answer, AI might not be the right tool for you. So some ways to use AI in your business. we talked briefly earlier about personalised experiences. We talked about that upstairs. And if you've been on your Netflix or you've been to Amazon, AI is being used to deliver you a personalised experience. What should you watch next based on what you watched before? But not just what you watched before, what everybody else watched before. People who watch that also watch that. People who like this also did this. That's AI, and it's massively data-driven. It can also be curated as well, by the way. The AI now is becoming better at it. So delivering personalised experiences to your customers based on the experience of others so far is a key area. Data-driven decisions. Like I said, AI is brilliant at merging different data sources. You don't necessarily even have to do that translation of that means that means that. You know, if you have, or the data nerds will know, like if you've got two different data sources, two different data tables, sometimes you have to tell it that that column is the same as that column. You don't need to with AI. AI understands the context, or at least it can understand the context of the data you give it. So you give it two sets of data, it'll say, that column, yeah, you're talking about window frames there, and here you're talking about, I can find windows over here in this building spec. And it links those two pieces of data for you. So you can ask it a question that needs both data sources to give you the answer, and it will be able to do it without you having to painfully go through and match everything. So data-driven decisions across multiple complex data sources become a lot easier with AI, because you can just kind of throw the data at the tool and say, what should I do? Content creation. So again, ChatGPT will write you a poem, it will write you an essay, it will write you a report, it will write you a slide deck.
I put my values together.
I actually didn't. I didn't use ChatGPT to build a slide deck, but we did use AI to create all of these images. So in seconds, in less than a second, this image. So if your business requires content creation at scale or personalized content creation, AI is a really, really good tool to have in your armory. And then enhanced monitoring. So being able to, one of the first projects that Rocketmakers did in AI was to monitor water sensors on water pipes. It's really boring, but actually, when you have leaks in huge water pipes, it's really, really costly and dangerous potentially. And so AI will make sense of a lot of sensory information. And we did this project that had several thousand sensors per kilometre of these huge water pipes, and it would predict where breaches were about to happen based on the information that we were receiving from the sensors. So just being able to kind of, without necessarily even understanding how, it just knows that the last time this happened, that happened. So there might be a leak here. So yeah, enhanced monitoring is another good area. There's a whole ton of examples here, which we probably haven't got time to talk about. Maybe you see something here that resonates with your business, maybe not. Has anybody got one on there that they think, I'd really like to learn a bit more about that?
For me, it would be a CRM system, meeting new people all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
A smart CRM system.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. And now, fingers crossed. This is my friend Barack Obama. He's connected to dodgy internet, so give him a minute. What's that?
It's your mate.
It's my mate, yeah. Let's see if I get this up. Hello, Mr. President. Can you tell me a little bit about the use of AI in smart CRM systems?
Well, let me tell you, AI has revolutionized the way we interact with customers in CRM systems. It allows for personalized and efficient customer service, helping businesses build stronger relationships with their clients. AI-powered chatbots, for example, can provide instant support and answer inquiries, improving customer satisfaction. It's truly remarkable how AI has transformed the CRM landscape.
So, Barack. So that was an example of a chatbot for customer service, for example. Right? So this is a bunch of different AI techs, voice to text, text to a large language model, integrated with some structured data. We actually fed it the Rocketmakers AI guidebook to talk about, which ChatGPT doesn't know about. Then we've got a 3D model that's generated by AI. We've got Barack Obama's voice replicated by AI. We've got the mouth being animated to the voice by AI, and yeah, and a nice bit, a little bit of 3D wizardry on the top there. So there's about 8 different AI techs layered in there, and you can do some insane, developments. So that one we are taking out around the world. It's called Portrait, and first customers are rolling in at the moment. So it's just an example of what you can do. But yeah, any of these. And there's more detail on any of these in our little AI guidebook, which is dotted around the place. So I said we'd answer some big questions. Will AI take over the world? I don't know. Will it?
You tell us.
Should we ask AI?
Yeah, ask for it.
It'll deny it. It'll deny it. You would deny it, wouldn't you? So Elon Musk said there's a greater than 0% chance that AI will take over the world.
We believe everything he says.
But less than 100, yeah?
I'm not believing it. But he said it's a very, very tiny chance. There's a man that should know. I don't know if AI will take over the world. I think that AI ultimately, at least for now, will only do what we tell it to do. It will only move in the direction that we tell it. Even though it makes decisions, until we give it the power to reinvent itself and stop us unplugging it, it's still under our control. That said, you can tell it to take over the world, I suppose, and somebody might. So I like to think AI could be a very, very dangerous weapon. But we have other very, very dangerous weapons in the world, and we managed to keep a lid on those just about through regulation. And so regulation is going to be really important in the coming years for AI. So yeah, in answer to that question, will AI take over the world, which is something that Lee asked me earlier, I like to think of AI as a weapon. And if you think of it like that, maybe it's easier to sort of box that in. Will people lose their jobs?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if you think of pretty much any technology, by definition, it takes work out of the system, right? It makes things easier. I've got some stats here. Anybody ever used an ATM? Of course. A cash point, right? Right, but well, it's true. Okay, the people who build ATMs are rapidly losing their jobs. But between 1980 and 2018, 175,000 jobs went in the US alone, purely due to ATMs. In the car sector, 260,000 jobs were lost in the EU between 2008 and 2014. And print journalism declined by 60% across the industry between 1990 and 2016. So all technology causes jobs to be lost. The car did for stable boys and groomsmen, right? But the car generated its own industry. And I think, with AI, so thinking about these images that have been created here, has that done the graphic designer out of a job? No. What it's actually done is enabled me to bring something like 20 original artworks to a small bar in Bristol for a presentation. I would never do that. Nobody would ever spend the time doing that. But now we can. We've instead of losing a job, we've raised the quality. Hopefully, raised the quality of the visuals anyway. So yes, it will definitely change the working landscape, but it's giving us opportunities to do many, many new things. And I think
social come in, wasn't it?
yeah. It does a reasonably good job, AI. but I mean, what's that? It's a thing. You can't really see this because it's off the screen. It sort of looks comfortable, but then imagine sitting in it. No human's going to design that chair. Yeah. Where's the head? So there's a little way to go yet before we lose all the jobs. He's still going to need some skilled craftsmanship in there, I think. Okay, some pitfalls. Complexity. AI requires a lot of data. It's expensive to do. It's really hard to do. So you have to make sure that you've got that the data and the capability and the money to do it if you want to do it. Transparency is capable of amazing things, but you don't always know how it made the decision. So if you need to understand the decision-making process, not all AI allows you to do that. You can go back and ask AI, take me through that decision. Tell me how you got there. It might blow your mind, and you might waste a lot of time trying to unpick how it got there. It's also going to cost you even more money. So if transparency of decision-making is important, AI isn't necessarily the way to go. AI thrives in a very stable environment. So it takes, at the moment at least, a long time to train on data. So if your data is constantly changing or not very old, AI can behave very erratically. And then there's this ethical question. One good example of ethical issue is IP. So it's very easy for AI to steal an identity, even all sorts of things. There isn't actually, but I can explain why. But I haven't got time. We're not deep faking Obama here, but if we were, there could be a lawsuit coming, particularly in the US right now. There is a line somewhere. There's an ethical line. Just be aware that your competitor's ethical line may be in a different place to yours. So it's always worth considering. We'll only go so far. What will our competitors do? It's an interesting thing. Right, last thing, nearly the last thing. What's going to happen next? AI will get more powerful, more crazy, more amazing. At some point very soon, the cost of AI is going to start biting. We've all been playing on our desks with GPT and other tools. At some point, there has to be a business case. And so if you're going to use AI in a business, that £2 or £3 you spent on ChatGPT, if you multiply that by your entire customer base, you start to get some big numbers. And so people are going to start asking that question quite soon. And then there's got to be regulation. The US is actually taking a lead on regulation. Italy banned ChatGPT back in April. UK is kind of waiting and seeing what's happening, saying that we're at the advance of it, we're at the forefront of it, but we're just sort of sitting back. There'll be more regulation, there has to be. What do you need to do to get started? Two things I would say is complete a readiness assessment, and there's more information on how to do that in the guidebook, and make friends with a technologist. Hello. I'm going to leave it there, I think.